Well, good evening and a warm welcome to Hengelo in the Netherlands, where we have a special event, a standalone event on this Friday night, where the Saturday night, where the local time is 8:30. You can see the crowd starting to get animated because the local heroine, the superstar of Dutch athletics, Sifan Hassan, who set a world record on this track for 10,000 metres just a couple of years ago, has asked for a 10,000 metres. She's going in the 1,500 metres at the full FBK Games programme tomorrow. But to support her, there are 6 different nationalities, 8 athletes going the full distance and 2 pacemakers. It's a free ticket tonight. I think there's probably a couple of thousand people in the stadium. I'm looking very closely at the flags, which you can just see behind the graphic there, which displays the full lineup, including the 2 pacemakers at the bottom there. 9 and 10 will be tasked with taking the athletes round. And it wasn't ideal conditions when Hassan broke the world record here. It was one of the shortest lived world records of all time because it was broken on the same track 2 days later in the Ethiopian trials. But Hassan, need I remind you, won the TCS London Marathon less than 6 weeks ago. She's going over 1,500 metres tomorrow. There's the forecast. It's an unusual wind here. I've come in from the city centre where it is completely still and hot. We're on slightly more exposed ground out here where the FBK stadium is situated, and there are flags all around the bowl on the top concourse level, and they bluster in different directions. But as the evening wears on, it should be very, very close to perfect conditions. You can see even in that shot the flags blowing in slightly different directions. It's almost like a circular breeze. Down at trackside, relatively still. There were suggestions that the race might be put back an hour to get even better conditions, but Hassan introduced to the crowd the double Olympic champion from Tokyo 2020, including at this distance. Her first outdoor track event of the year, and maybe looking to simulate the timetable that she would encounter at the World Championships in Budapest in the middle of August, where she will perhaps follow a 10,000 metres with a 1,500 metres. That's her plan this weekend. 10,000 metres tonight, 1,500 metres in less than 20 hours from now in the FBK Games. There's even talk, and she gets a great reception. There's no doubt that perhaps this race should be named for her, the Sifan Hassan 10,000 metres. She could potentially attempt an outrageous quadruple in Paris. The timetable allows 3 track events plus the marathon. Sam Harrison of Great Britain is in great form. She will be looking for the world qualifying standard at 30 minutes and 40 seconds. Sigai Gebresalama of Ethiopia, the runner-up in the Ethiopian trials that were held here 2 years ago. And Betty Chelangat of Kenya was the winner of the first gold at the World Junior Championships in Cali last year. So we've got a lot of youth and experience combined in this field, and this is the venue that invented wave light technology. Today there will be 3 lights running around the curb. There will be a green light that is set approximately for the stadium record. That's 29 minutes flat. The white light goes at just under 30 minutes. That would be the fastest time in the world this year. And for those chasing that World Championship qualifying standard, there will be a red light. There's also the 2 in-person pacemakers to help as well. So Hassan will not lack for support in this race. I suspect as it goes on, we'll see 3 races in one. Veronica Sadek of Slovenia is the opening pacemaker. I think she's got personal best going right the way down to 12.69 for 100 metres. She's run a couple of 200s and 400s this year, so you have to assume that she will be for the early stages of the pacemaking. She's not an athlete who has personally raced beyond 1,500 metres. And maybe in their peripheral vision, the way that that wave light technology works is that they cast their eyes down to the curb on the left-hand side. You can see the blue light, which is the task for the individual pacemakers. We may actually have 4 lights going here: green, white, blue and red. I won't confuse you with them too much. The red one is the world qualifying mark that I think a few people have travelled far to try and achieve. Samantha Harrison of Great Britain at the back of the field ran very well in the night of the PBs 10,000 metres just a couple of weeks ago in London, but was outside the qualifying mark. There aren't that many opportunities for high-quality 10,000 metre running, so this could be the last opportunity she has on the track. After that, a road performance might make her eligible. The first two are both pacemakers. Second athlete who'll take over a little bit later on is Asiyet Ayachu of Ethiopia, and Hassan tracking those two very closely. It's a 25-lap race. We're situated right over in the eastern perimeters of Netherlands. So from Amsterdam Airport, we traverse the whole width of the country, west to east. We're only less than 10 kilometers from the border with Germany here. So the athletes for tomorrow's Continental Tour Gold event in the World Athletics Series that you can watch have travelled to German airports as well as into Netherlands. The track season in full swing, but this is Hassan making her first appearance on the track, probably on her favourite distance and almost certainly on her favourite venue as well. Harrison finds herself detached at the back there, the lone British athlete. She's going to have to work hard here because 25-lap race, she'll have plenty of support from the crowds all the way around, but only really that red wave light to indicate whether she's on schedule for 30:40, the Budapest World Championship qualifying mark. If you didn't see the TCS London Marathon at the end of April, it was one of the most astonishing marathons of all time. Hassan stopped twice in the mid part of the race. She had a hip problem, and it looked for all the world as if she was going to drop out. She lost an awful lot of ground on the leaders, made all of it up, and then finished like a locomotive in scenes of great emotion to win. And that was just 6 weeks ago, so it's going to be very interesting to see how she's recovered as she takes on this highly unusual double over the next 24 hours. Hassan has a personal wave light pacer in there. It's the green light that's running second at the moment. The blue is alongside the lead pacer, Sadek of Slovenia. But for Hassan, if she's feeling good at the midpoint in the race and decides to push on, the lights can go quicker. So it really is mood lighting. It depends how she's feeling once she's clicked off a few kilometers as to whether she really wants to go after a fast time or just settle for a good opener in these good conditions. Every time you glimpse the flags on the back straight in particular, you'll see that the wind is down to pretty much zero in that part of the stadium. So already we're down to one pacemaker. Sadek just got things going over the first 2 or 3 laps, and now it's Ayachu of Ethiopia, a 15:14 5,000 meter runner. I think they'll be hoping that she can take the race for maybe 7 or 8 laps. Personal best set in Belgium a year ago. She ran silver in the Ethiopian Junior Championships over 5,000 meters back in March this year. Ethiopian Outdoor Track Championships held very early, almost at the same time as the European indoor season. Hassan is now coached by Tim Rowbury. She was formerly part of the Oregon Project Group under Alberto Salazar. Tim Rowbury is the husband of Shannon Rowbury. I've not met her, one of the leading American distance runners and training partner of Hassan's. I'll be seeing a lot of her in the summer because she, I and Chris Temple are the 3 English announcers in the stadium at the World Championships in Budapest. She didn't have a particularly good 2022. If you'd forgotten about that, she was only, by her standards, 4th in the World 10,000 metres and 6th in the 5,000 metres, but in very much better form, certainly over the marathon distance, and still hungry for plenty of racing. Let's see over the next few minutes as we approach 6 minutes down, 5 laps completed, 20 laps to go. And good evening if you're just joining us. This is Jeff Whiteman with you on the live stream from Hengelo for this single event on the Saturday night on the eve of the FBK Games. Fanny Blankers-Koen was the darling of Dutch athletics, multiple Olympic champion at the 1948 Games in London. The stadium is named for her. These games are named for her. And Hassan and Femke Bol, who we'll see in action tomorrow, the darlings of Dutch athletics these days. Hassan moved to Netherlands as a refugee at the age of 15 in 2008. Been based in the US as much as in Europe and Africa in the last few years, so very much a world citizen. She said after that London Marathon, "I was born for drama." Well, we'll see. The Lady Gaga of athletics in second place behind the pacer Asayech Ayichu. And then the expected challenge behind Hassan is coming from Sigai Gebresalama, second in the Ethiopian trials at this stadium in 2021, a 30.06 operator. In truth, at the end of the race, there should be 60 seconds between them, but look at this. Gebresalama taking it on. Pacemaker being made to look redundant at this point, less than 8 minutes into the race. Around about 21 minutes still to go, and things hotting up at the front and some big gaps and some lonely runs in prospect. And is this the long run for home from Hassan? Is she in the mood to attack a record? Stadium announcer alongside me, Martijn Visser, won't be allowed to talk in terms of a world record. We've just got to wait and see. The good news is she's stride for stride with the green wave light, which is the one that can be tweaked to attack the world record of 20, well, the stadium record, we're going to call it, 29.01. It's the second fastest in history by a second or two. Wavelight technology was introduced in this stadium, I think about 4 years ago. Bramson, the pacemaker, has marketed it to the world, and we saw it to great effect with Faith Kipyegon breaking the world 1500 meter record a couple of nights ago in Florence in Italy in the Diamond League, and it was dramatic to see her sprint away from the Wavelight that was running at world record pace. Sprinting away now, the athlete I was saying was redundant, Ayichu, going back in front. I don't think irregular surging in the pacing will do anybody any favours, but good to see that she's still game for hopefully a few more laps. But the gap's opening up behind that leading group. Ayichu, Hassan, Gebresalama and Nawawuna of Kenya. Grace Nawawuna is the athlete in fourth place as the pacemaker does step off. So it was a 72nd lap, kept it earnest. 9:27 at 3,200 metres, 8 laps down, 17 to go. Hassan now 30 years of age. Sigai 22 just behind her. So opposite ends of the experience curve in terms of senior athletics. Nawawuna, the youngest of all of them, she's 19, the athlete in third, the fourth placer in the World Cross Country in Bathurst in Australia back in March. So we have a marathon runner, a 5,000 metre runner and a cross-country specialist going over 10,000 metres, getting great support from the crowd, I have to say. Perfect evening for spectating. Just the point that they're passing at the moment, they're looking into direct sunlight, but there's, by my estimation, a couple of thousand on a free ticket in here just to watch this race. And good to see a few of them down the back straight, so there is wraparound support around the stadium. And DJ Toby Webber keeping a nice strong 4-4 beat going. And they're right alongside that green wave light. I think there'll be a signal if she's feeling good to step things up in the second half between Hassan and her management company, Global Sports in Netherlands, founded by Jos Hermans. I'm just looking for him on the infield. Also agents to Faith Kipyegon, so one record on the books, one world record on the books already in the last 48 hours. This meeting is co-organised by Global Sports, Hans Kloosterman and Helen van Langen, the 1992 Olympic 800-metre women's champion, are the co-race directors. She works for the global agency as well. So they're looking after Hassan. They've recruited 6 different nationalities into this field. And now the woman herself, as we approach the halfway point in the race, just starting to step on the gas ever so slightly, not afraid to lead for a long, long way. I remember when she set the world record here on this track at this meeting, it was pretty much a solo endeavour. A bit further back, there are 3 athletes at the rear of the field, including Samantha Harrison, and I can tell you they're operating around about 40 metres behind the red wave light that is at 30-40. A long way to go, but they're slipping away from the schedule for that World Championship qualifying mark. 12.5 minutes into the race. Netherlands against Ethiopia against Kenya. Well, the flags at the bottom end of the stadium are completely still. The temperature, a really nice one on a summer's evening. You can see there are spectators who've come to the edge of the rail to get their photos, to urge her on. Anything can happen with Sifan Hassan, but if she is in the right mood and has recovered from those marathon endeavours, you just never know what could happen over the next few minutes. Looks like she's running very controlled and smoothly at the moment. The other 2 behind her working hard, especially at the moment Nawawuna, the 19-year-old from Kenya. Well, Gebre Salama says, I'll take a turn, leave this lap to me. I don't know if there's any agreement between them to work together. The green wave lights, they're Hassan pacing. You can just see it, bottom right-hand side of the screen, bottom right-hand corner. It's just moved about 10 metres ahead of them. That can be dialed up to increase speed, but right now they just need to get back on terms with that. That's going to be somewhere around low 29 minutes as a predicted finishing time, and Hassan decides to give chase. You can't allow too many laps to pass without getting back on terms with level pace. The wave lights will run evenly. The athletes have to try and do the same, but Hassan's decided it's worth a surge to get back on terms with stadium record schedule as we move into the second half of the race. 2:57 for that kilometre, 14:46. We're on 29:30 pace. Has she got the ability to increase it from here to the finish line? A year ago, we saw Eilish McColgan of Great Britain run away from some very cautious Ethiopian trialists to win this equivalent event on the Saturday by more than half a lap. In fact, I think it was nearly 300 metres. Temperature displayed on the infield there is 22 degrees, so a pretty nice temperature. Hassan moving freely, but the lights staying ahead of her at the moment. 70-second laps are the norm, and they have been for the last 2 or 3 kilometres. She'll need to bring that down slightly in the second half of the race if she's to go for a really ambitious time. Fastest time in the world this year is 29:59. Those are white lights, which I think are a little way behind them. I've not really spotted them. She's got that swinging arm action, very free-flowing. She thought she was mad attempting the London Marathon, and halfway round those thoughts must have been confirmed when she stopped How often you see somebody stop twice in a marathon and then go on to win in a terrific time, and against world-class opposition. Not sure it's drawn her completely to the marathon, but it does give her options for Paris, where the Dutch team will be slightly easier to qualify for over more than one distance than would be the case in Kenya or Ethiopia or other powerhouse nations on the endurance front. Still 70, like a metronome, 11 laps to go, 14 laps completed. Some of these athletes won't be used to being lapped. The etiquette is normally that you move out, but if you don't realise they're in pursuit and it hasn't happened to you before, it's best to just hug the rail and give them the minimum overtaking manoeuvre possible. Looks like Sigi Gebreselassie of Ethiopia just starting to drop back off that leading three, the teenager. The chip timing that's embedded in their numbers is giving these intermediate splits around the course. Visibly, it looks as though Hassan is starting to work. See a little hint of a grimace there, but she's into the last 12 minutes of running. And I guess there must be a danger that she could lap 5 out of her 6 opponents, or 6 out of her 7 opponents. The next athlete that she's about to lap is the Ugandan Joy Cheptoyek. And this is a fine run at the moment by Grace Loibach Nawawuna of Kenya, sticking close to the double Olympic champion at her Olympic champion distance and looking a lot more comfortable than she did a few laps ago. Wave-like technology means they know exactly how they stand. They've got no complicated mental maths to do. Samantha Harrison, the next athlete likely to be lapped. I'm just looking at the gap from her to the Wave-light for the World Championship standard, and it's now over 100 metres, so Samantha Harrison's just got to tough this out. She also ran the London Marathon and has subsequently run in the Night of the PBs in London, the 10,000 metres there a couple of years ago, that very innovative festival format where they run through a beer tent and there's live music and performers. Fantastic atmosphere. Sigi Gebreselassie back in third is going to have to work hard now. She's under a little bit of pressure from athletes behind her. Very big gap now up to those two leaders. They've broken away just in the last 3 laps and suddenly opened up 90 metres on her. Hassan going well, but she hasn't broken the athlete in second place, Nawawuna of Kenya. The 20-minute point approaching. Surfing a wave of applause that's following her all the way around the arena. It looks like Sam Harrison has tried to latch on a little bit, get closer to her target time. Her personal best is 31:11. She's not going to be too far away from that if she can maintain this. The British athlete who's just been lapped and is actually in 6th place overall at the moment. Betty Chalangat is coming back to her in 5th place. So if you're just tuning in, welcome along. This is a standalone event on the eve of the FBK Games here in Hengelo, Netherlands. A Continental Tour Gold event taking place tomorrow afternoon. Sifan Hassan will be running in that in the 1500 metres, but she wants to test herself over the unbelievable double, which only she would countenance. 10,000 metres tonight, 1500 metres tomorrow. On schedule for the fastest time in the world this year, but not on schedule to win the race, because the 19-year-old Grace Nawawuna of Kenya can just tap her on the shoulder right now and say, "Kui, I'm still here." Nawawuna ran a 15:27 5,000 meters last month, and they're operating quicker than that. You need to remember that that was at Nairobi in the Kip Keino Classic, which is at very high altitude, so you can take more than a minute off that probably when factoring into a sea level time that she's going to post here. Is there a little bit of daylight just opening up? Has Hassan got a stride on her here? Nawawuna sticking to her task really well. There's Joss Hermans from her management company in the black jacket on the infield. Will be telling her exactly what's going on. I don't think there's been any agreement to increase the pace standard, so I think the 29-minute stadium record may be safe. I can see the Wavelight technology now about 70 meters in front of them. She could, of course, close that with a flourish at the end. That would be dramatic, but still well inside the fastest time in the world this year, and the Dutch love her. 22 minutes down, just over 7 minutes, 6 laps to run. Hassan leading for Netherlands. Nawawuna of Kenya in second. And Hassan can't shake her off. I'm not sure she will have visualized the race going quite like this. I think she will have imagined that this was going to be her against the clock for most of the race. That's certainly how it was for her world record here. Joss Hermans urging her to step it up a gear. He knows her capabilities. She can close like a train. And they are bridging the gap to the green Wavelight. But it's still two of them together. It's a race, it's not a time trial. No doubt who the crowd want to win this, but what a name for herself Grace Nawawuna would make if she can persevere here. We're coming up to 24 minutes. She's done a pretty good job so far. Hassan knows she's there. It's spurring her on, but she's still only a stride clear. 5 to go, 20 laps completed. 72 that lap, so they've drifted slightly away from that 72nd schedule. It is still the fastest time in the world this year. But are we going to see an upset? Yeah, Joss Hermans looking a bit worried there, because all we know of Nawawuna is that she was 4th in the World Cross Country Championships, which were absolutely fearsome in terms of heat and pace, and she's taking it on. The 19-year-old, this wasn't in the script. It was going to be Hassan against the clock to test herself for the World Championships, and suddenly we have a moment and a bit of tension for the double Olympic champion now at her gold medal distance, because the crazy kid has gone in front. Well, this time it's 4 laps to go. I wonder if Hassan is thinking about that 1,500 meters. There's pacemakers for that at a pretty quick time tomorrow, but she's got her hands full with trying to win this race. It was set up for her. 6 nationalities, 8 athletes, plus 2 pacemakers. The Wavelights are all in place, but it comes back to one-on-one racing. Joss Hermans reassuring her. She does look comfortable, but Nawawuna doesn't look too bad either. Well, inside the last 1,500 meters, Hassan has got the greatest range, you would think, of any female athlete in history. I think she's sub 2 minutes for 800 meters, certainly well under 4 minutes for 1,500 meters. Nawawuna is an unknown quantity. 11 years difference in experience here, and as they come round, it will be to see the lap indicator move to 3 laps to go, just over 1 kilometre remaining. Before this, I had never heard of Grace Nawawuna of Kenya, but it's in her hands to cause one of the big shocks so far in this outdoor season of 2023, because Hassan was looking for a quick time. She's going to get it, but she's not guaranteed to win the race, and we've got just over a kilometre to run, 2.5 laps. 18 seconds back in third place at the moment is Sigai Gebrselassie, then it's Betty Chilanga, then Sila Busanai, then Samantha Harrison, and then Joy Cheptoyek. Those are the only 6 athletes remaining on the track. These two well clear. The champion or the winner is going to be one of them. I doubt they've ever raced each other, so there can be no guesswork about that. Presumably, Nawawuna will have seen all of Hassan's exploits on the television as she works her way through the sport, but still a teenager against the 30-year-old. And this time the indicator moves to 2 laps to go, 800 meters. The crowd enjoying it, but I doubt they expected this scenario. She's not a pacemaker, she's here to win. So Hassan being urged on, the music reaching a crescendo, more and more people coming down to the rail. We've got around about 2,000 people in the stadium on a free ticket ahead of tomorrow's sold-out FBK Games here in Hengelo, part of the Continental Tour Gold event. You can watch it through your usual outlets, including on YouTube, on the World Athletics channel, if you're not geo-blocked. Hermans looks worried. She has all the gears you could wish for as an athlete, but she beat the very best of all time to take Tokyo Olympic gold, and she is going to need that 5th gear, because when they come round this time, it will be to take the bell. Looking over the shoulder of the leader, Hassan. She sprinted quicker than any female marathon runner to win in the male in the TCS London Marathon. And the crowd can sense that this is the moment. Hassan attacks just before the bell, but the response is immediate from Nawawuna. Game on at the bell. She has got real pace, and she's going to need to apply it now. That's been a really strong 100 meters for Sifan Hassan. In 20 hours from now, she'll be back to race 200 meters, but she's got to keep working now over this final 250 meters to be sure of the win. We're on 29:02. The fastest time in the world this year is 29:59. She's going to take about 10 or 15 seconds off that. So giving herself a real workout. It wasn't necessarily the race she expected, but the outcome is going to be the same. Another dominant performance from the London Marathon champion and the double Olympic champion on the track in front of her home supporters. Everybody's on their feet in the home straight. She has really opened up over the last 400 meters, and the winner of this special 10,000 meters in the fastest time in the world this year is Sifan Hassan. 29:37, a new world lead. There will be athletes with 1.5, 2 laps to go. There's our runner-up. She's happy enough with that. Nawawuna takes a debut personal best, and then it's a big lap, a big gap now back to Sigai Gebrselassie. She crosses the line now in 3rd. Yeah, Hassan breathing quite heavily, isn't she? She's 20 hours away from running 1,500 meters. I know when she broke the 10,000 meter world record here a couple of years ago, she went out and did some track workouts, some 300 meter, 400 meter reps on the warm-up track. So she is a woman with boundless energy, but right now she's just happy to take a seat on the timing block. How was that then, girl? All right? Yeah. Drama follows me around. It wasn't quite as dramatic as it might have been there. Finishers are coming in. We've had Sele Busaini of Kenya in 4th place, 30:26 for her. Sigai Gebrselassie just failed to break 30 minutes, 30:04. Betty Chilanga has just finished in 30:27. Samantha Harrison and Joy Cheptoyak are out on their final circuits. Samantha Harrison, 31.01 with 100 metres to go, 31.19 with 100 metres to go. She's coming into the final straight now. Looks like two finishers still out there. It's Joy Cheptoyak and Wede Kefali. So Harrison finishing, give you her official time based on her chip, 31.37 for her, so she'll be a bit disappointed with that. She was 57 seconds outside that World Championship qualifying mark, has the chance to go and chase that on the roads. Hassan needs to think about recovery. We may get an interview with her. Got the flowers, got the comedy check. Oh, there you go, catch that, like the bridesmaids. I wonder what she can deliver after such a hard race, where the local time is now just after 9 p.m. on a Friday night, mid-afternoon, on a Saturday night, sorry, I keep saying Friday. Tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, she'll be doing the 1,500 metres there, where she's favourite. Remember, she's Olympic bronze medalist at that distance. But the crowd enjoyed that, a little bit closer for comfort than they expected, but the outcome was the one that they came to see. There's Josh Hermans. And behind him, on the left there, Ellen van Langen from the same management agency, the former Olympic 800-metre champion. She's put together the elite fields for tonight and also for tomorrow. Very well-connected agency. I wonder if she'll go and do some strides this evening, or whether massage, ice bath, or something of that order. Rehydration, nutrition is the order of the day. Got time for a lap of honour. Those kids will have enjoyed seeing the greatest Dutch female distance runner of all time, double Olympic champion, London Marathon champion, and now the fastest 10,000 metres in the world. Yeah, the tongue's out. I think she had to work a bit there, didn't she? So this is where it was more sparse on the back straight. There's still quite a few people waiting for her to come round in the home straight. I guess this is part of a cool down and recovery strategy. Bottle of water in hand. Warm-up track's just behind her shoulder there. These are the highlights of the race. This was her just geeing herself up on the start line. Wave technology played its part. The green lights could have been tweaked to suit a stadium record attempt if she'd been in the right position, the right frame of mind and the right fitness for that, but she chose to keep things steady because she had company, and it was Grace Nawawuna who stayed with her right the way to the bell, even leading it on. Neither of these two took on the drinks that are available there on the back straight. It's 20 degrees, 22 degrees. And Hassan attacked with 450 metres to go, still looking very composed. That was enough to calm the nerves, hers and the spectators, and sprinting down the home straight. Job done. I think she's in pretty good shape. I can tell you that the crowd have all come down to the rail. She can have the world's longest hand rattle here. Usain Bolt used to take about an hour and a half for his laps of honours with all the selfies. She has a race tomorrow to think about. There's the full result. Personal best for Gebre Salama and Betty Chalangat, and a WL world lead, fastest time in the world this year. She's already the favourite for that event in Budapest if she chooses to do it. Down to walking speed now. Evening constitutional stroll. Everybody just taking the single high five. Got a bit lower for these two, that's it. And that's the end of our live stream coverage. Thanks very much for joining us. See you again tomorrow for the FBK games. From me, Jeff Whiteman. It's goodbye. En natuurlijk morgen de helden van